The history of the United States is deeply intertwined with tales of valor and heroism, etched into the fabric of its many wars. From the Revolutionary War that birthed the nation to the global struggles of the 20th century, each conflict produced heroes whose courage and sacrifice shaped the course of history. These legends of valor stood firm in the face of overwhelming odds, embodying the spirit of resilience and determination that defines the American identity. The Revolutionary War was where it all began. In 1775, a group of colonists, ordinary men and women, rose against the British Empire, one of the most powerful forces in the world. Among these patriots was Nathan Hale, a young schoolteacher turned soldier. Captured by the British while on a reconnaissance mission, Hale was executed as a spy, but not before declaring, "I only regret that I have but one life to lose for my country." His words inspired a generation of revolutionaries, cementing his place as one of America's first heroes. As the war raged on, General George Washington emerged as a leader of unmatched vision and determination. Facing harsh winters, dwindling supplies, and a well-trained enemy, Washington's ability to rally his troops turned the tide of the war. The daring crossing of the Delaware River on Christmas night in 1776 was a masterstroke of strategy, leading to a crucial victory at the Battle of Trenton. Washington's unwavering leadership not only secured independence for the fledgling nation, but also set a standard for courage and resolve. Fast forward to the 19th century, and the United States found itself embroiled in the Civil War, a conflict that tore the nation apart. It was a time of immense sacrifice and bravery on both sides. One figure who stood out was Harriet Tubman, known for her work on the Underground Railroad. During the war, Tubman served as a nurse, scout, and spy for the Union Army, leading daring missions to free enslaved people and gather intelligence. Her fearless actions earned her the respect of soldiers and civilians alike. On the battlefield, soldiers like Joshua Chamberlain became symbols of heroism. At the Battle of Gettysburg, Chamberlain and his 20th Maine Regiment held the critical position on Little Round Top against repeated Confederate attacks. Outnumbered and running low on ammunition, Chamberlain ordered a daring bayonet charge that drove the enemy back, preserving the Union line. His actions at Gettysburg earned him the Medal of Honor and solidified his legacy as one of the war's great heroes. As the 20th century dawned, America entered the global stage with its involvement in World War I, known as the War to End All Wars. It brought new challenges and heroes. Sergeant Alvin C. York became one of the most celebrated figures of the conflict. A deeply religious man, York initially opposed the war, but ultimately joined the fight. In October 1918, during the Meuse-Argonne offensive, he led a small group of soldiers in capturing 132 German troops, single-handedly taking out multiple machine gun nests. York's extraordinary bravery turned the tide of battle and earned him the Medal of Honor. World War II, the deadliest conflict in human history, brought forth countless stories of valor. Among them was Audie Murphy, a young Texan who became one of the most decorated soldiers in American history. Despite his small stature, Murphy's courage on the battlefield was unmatched. At the age of 19, he single-handedly held off an entire company of German soldiers at the Colmar Pocket in France, allowing his unit to regroup and counterattack. For his actions, Murphy received the Medal of Honor, along with numerous other decorations. On the Pacific Front, the story of the Navajo Code Talkers stands out. These Native American Marines developed and used an unbreakable code based on the Navajo language, which played a crucial role in securing victory in battles such as Iwo Jima. Their efforts remained classified for decades, but their contribution to the war effort was invaluable. The skies of Europe were dominated by the Tuskegee Airmen, the first African-American military aviators in the U.S. Armed Forces. Facing discrimination and doubt, These pilots proved their worth time and again, escorting bombers and engaging enemy aircraft with remarkable skill. Their courage not only contributed to the Allied victory, but also paved the way for the eventual desegregation of the military. As the Cold War escalated, the United States found itself in conflicts in Korea and Vietnam. In Korea, Captain Louis Millet led one of the last bayonet charges in modern warfare during the Battle of Hill 180. Charging uphill through intense fire, Millet's leadership inspired his men to capture the hill, earning him the Medal of Honor. In Vietnam, stories of heroism abounded despite the war's controversial nature. One such story was that of Green Beret Sergeant Roy Benavides, who risked his life to save his comrades during a 6-hour battle. Despite being gravely injured, Benavides fought on, rescuing fellow soldiers and securing their extraction. His actions exemplified the selflessness and bravery of American soldiers in the face of unimaginable odds. The 21st century brought new challenges with the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. In these conflicts, acts of valor continued to inspire. Navy SEAL Michael Murphy, for example, displayed extraordinary bravery during Operation Red Wings in Afghanistan. Surrounded by Taliban fighters, Murphy risked his life to call for reinforcements, ensuring the survival of his team. He was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor for his actions. In Iraq, stories like that of Sergeant Lee and Hester broke barriers. Hester became the first woman since World War II to receive the Silver Star for valor in combat. During an ambush on her convoy, she led her team in repelling the attackers, saving countless lives and demonstrating the evolving role of women in the military. These stories of valor are not just about individual acts of bravery. They represent the collective spirit of a nation that values freedom, resilience, and the courage to stand up against tyranny. From the Revolutionary War to the modern battlefield, American heroes have risen to meet the challenges of their time, leaving behind a legacy that inspires future generations. While these tales of heroism are etched into history books, they are also carried in the hearts of those who honor the sacrifices made by these brave men and women. Their stories remind us of the human capacity for courage, the power of determination, and the enduring hope for a better future. The legends of American valor span centuries and stretch across battlefields around the world. They are stories of ordinary people rising to extraordinary challenges, demonstrating resilience, bravery, and the unyielding spirit of a nation. To truly capture the breadth of these tales, one must delve deeper into the unsung heroes and pivotal moments that shaped not only America's history, but also the broader course of global events. As the Revolutionary War raged, the concept of valor wasn't limited to grand gestures or military victories. Figures like Deborah Sampson emerged as unlikely yet inspiring icons. Disguising herself as a man to enlist in the Continental Army, Sampson demonstrated courage not only in combat, but also in breaking societal barriers of her time. Fighting in multiple engagements and sustaining injuries, she remained undeterred, a testament to the universal drive for freedom that defined the Revolutionary era. The war also saw the bravery of African American soldiers like Peter Salem, who fought in the Battle of Bunker Hill. Despite the harsh realities of slavery and discrimination, Salem and other black patriots fought valiantly for a vision of liberty that extended beyond their immediate circumstances. Their contributions, though often overlooked, were vital to the struggle for independence and remain a critical part of America's story of valor. Moving into the 19th century, the War of 1812 saw its own share of American heroes. While the war is often overshadowed by other conflicts, moments like the defense of Fort McHenry produced enduring symbols of American resilience. It was during this battle that Francis Scott Key penned the Star-Spangled Banner, inspired by the sight of the fort's flag still flying after a relentless bombardment. The valor of the soldiers who held their ground became a metaphor for the perseverance of the fledgling nation. Further west, the frontier wars brought to light the bravery of figures like Davy Crockett, who fought not only in military battles, but also as a symbol of the rugged American spirit. His role in the Battle of the Alamo, where he and his comrades made their legendary last stand against overwhelming Mexican forces, solidified his place in the annals of American heroism. Though the Alamo was a tactical defeat, the courage displayed by Crockett and his fellow defenders became a rallying cry for Texas independence and, eventually, a unifying chapter in the story of the United States. The Civil War, perhaps more than any other conflict, revealed the deep complexities of American valor. It was a war fought not only on battlefields, but also within the moral conscience of a nation. Clara Barton, who would later found the American Red Cross, exemplified a different kind of heroism. Working tirelessly as a nurse on the front lines, she provided care and comfort to soldiers on both sides, earning the nickname, the Angel of the Battlefield. Barton's legacy extended beyond the war, as her work laid the foundation for humanitarian efforts that continue to save lives worldwide. Among the soldiers who fought in the Civil War, the United States Colored Troops, USCT, stood out for their extraordinary bravery. These African American regiments faced not only the perils of combat, but also the additional risk of brutal treatment if captured by Confederate forces. Their heroic actions in battles such as Fort Wagner, where the 54th Massachusetts Volunteer Infantry charged bravely under heavy fire, challenged the prejudices of their time and paved the way for the eventual integration of the U.S. military. As the 19th century gave way to the 20th, America's involvement in World War I marked its emergence as a global power. The story of the Harlem Hellfighters, an African American regiment that served under French command due to segregation in the U.S. military, is one of unmatched valor. Despite facing discrimination from their own country, these soldiers fought valiantly on the Western Front, earning the Croix de Guerre for their bravery. Their story highlighted both the contradictions and the promise of a nation striving toward equality. In the skies over Europe, American pilots like Eddie Rickenbacker became legends. As the leading American ace of World War I, Rickenbacker's daring dogfights against German planes captured the imagination of a nation. His exploits, chronicled in newspapers back home, symbolized the courage and technological innovation that defined the war. World War II, however, remains the conflict most associated with American valor. The war spanned continents, and every theater of battle brought forth stories of courage and sacrifice. On the beaches of Normandy during D-Day, American soldiers faced a hailstorm of enemy fire as they stormed ashore to liberate Europe. Figures like Lieutenant General Theodore Roosevelt Jr., the only general to land with the first wave at Utah Beach, exemplified this bravery. Despite his age and physical ailments, Roosevelt's leadership inspired his troops and earned him the Medal of Honor. The Pacific Theater offered its own harrowing tales. The Battle of Iwo Jima, immortalized by the iconic photograph of the flag raising on Mount Suribachi, was a grueling campaign marked by extraordinary heroism. John Basilone, a Marine already celebrated for his actions at Guadalcanal, returned to the front lines and gave his life leading his men in the opening stages of the battle. His sacrifice underscored the selflessness and determination of those who fought in the war's most brutal engagements. On the home front, the contributions of women like the Rosie the Riveters showcased a different kind of valor. These women stepped into roles traditionally held by men, working in factories to produce the planes, tanks, and weapons that powered the Allied war effort. Their determination and resilience broke barriers and proved that heroism was not confined to the battlefield. As the Cold War era unfolded, the Korean War tested America's resolve in new ways. The Chosin Reservoir Campaign, often called the Frozen Chosin, was a testament to the grit of American forces. Outnumbered and surrounded by Chinese troops in freezing temperatures, the Marines fought their way out with unparalleled determination. Colonel Chesty Puller, a legendary figure in the Marine Corps, famously declared, "We're surrounded. That simplifies our problem." His words captured the indomitable spirit of the troops, who turned what seemed like certain defeat into a storied chapter of military history. The Vietnam War, though deeply controversial, also produced acts of incredible courage. Helicopter pilots, often referred to as the unsung heroes of the conflict, risked their lives daily to evacuate wounded soldiers, deliver supplies, and support ground operations. Major Bruce Crandall, one such pilot, flew repeated missions into intense enemy fire to rescue soldiers during the Battle of Ai Drang. His actions saved countless lives and earned him the Medal of Honor. In more recent history, the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan have continued the legacy of American valor. Stories like that of Staff Sergeant Salvatore Junta, the first living Medal of Honor recipient since Vietnam, illustrate the enduring courage of American soldiers. During an ambush in Afghanistan, Junta braved enemy fire to rescue a wounded comrade and recover another soldier who had been captured. His selflessness exemplifies the values that have guided American service members for generations. Beyond the battlefield, acts of valor extend to the quiet moments of resilience and determination that often go unnoticed. Veterans returning from war, many of whom bear physical and emotional scars, demonstrate courage in rebuilding their lives and supporting their communities. Organizations like Team Rubicon, founded by veterans, channel this spirit into disaster relief efforts, proving that the ethos of service extends far beyond the military. American valor is not confined to any single era, battlefield, or individual. It is a collective legacy, built by countless men and women who answered the call to serve. Their stories, whether told in history books, celebrated in parades, or quietly remembered by families, form the backbone of a nation's identity. These legends of valor remind us that courage takes many forms, from the soldier charging into battle to the nurse tending to the wounded, from the pilot soaring through enemy skies to the mechanic ensuring the mission can continue. As history marches forward, new challenges will undoubtedly arise. But the spirit of those who came before, their bravery, resilience, and unwavering belief in the values they fought for, will continue to inspire future generations. The legends of valor are not just stories of the past. They are a promise for the future, a testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit in the face of adversity.